it again. Hey,
Okay, now it's done. Yeah, okay,
we're
okay.
going. All right, that's good. Okay, so in the way of a quick introduction, I'm Garrett Polhamus. I've been associated with IEEE since I was a graduate student at the University of Texas in Austin. Um, I published in IEEE. I've done a little bit of other work with them, but most of my volunteer work has been with them since I retired and had time to do other things, or at least later in my career. Um, I have been the Central Texas Section Awards and Recognition Chair. I've been the treasurer in education activities, been the vice chair, been the chair, nominations and appointment committees, and then have also been associated with, of course, engineering, medicine, and biology, but not nearly as active as I had been in the life members group. And was, in fact, the life members affinity group chair, um, vice chair, treasurer. Um, and since we have activated the Lone Star section, I've been more active in engineering, medicine, and biology as treasurer, currently secretary, and I'm also the current government relations chair for the section. So I think that's enough about me. Let me get to some of the questions that we had, specifically. What's the background on the history and the formation of this section and its relationship with Lone Star
Correct.
with
Yeah,
Central Texas?
yeah. Well, the idea behind forming the history committee for the Lone Star uh, section was to document. We know it's kind of early, it's only a few years since 2019, November 2019. But Walt and I think some of the members thought it's a great time, so we don't miss anything, and everybody's around. We can ask them. And I know you've been a chair for Central Texas section, so let's talk about why it's important for us first to have a history committee for the Lone Star section. What do you think? What's your review on that?
I'm all for history.
Mm,
There's nothing like getting fouled up, going in the wrong direction if you don't know where you've been and how you got to
mhm,
where you are. So I really applaud the effort to try to capture some of these historical perspectives that we have, and that a number of people who have also been chairman of the Central Texas section and have a wide range of experience can offer on this. Um, it'll be interesting how we archive this so that people can get the best out of it.
mhm.
And you know, as opposed to watching a lot of long videos of Garrett expounding on this, that, or something else, it's probably appropriate to think of the best way to synopsize this. And you've mentioned that already, Kasai, about some of your notes about how best to do that. So I applaud that.
Mm.
That's the way you're going to have to do this for sure.
Why this is important for the new generation, the young professional, the student, why they should know about the history of forming the Lone Star section. Why do you think?
Well, I think it's important because there can't be any question that between Central Texas section and the Lone Star section, the
Mhm,
flagship university is UT Austin. And
mhm,
um, that is not insignificant when you consider how huge a driver it is and for the academic activities to drive local functions, to drive local membership, to drive future membership. And so, as younger folks rise in the different academic activities that we have, or come into the different functions and chapters and whatnot that we're going to run in this section, they should ask the question about what is the relationship we have with UT Austin. I think most of the young folks will appreciate that this whole area of Texas is growing, and that's the dominant factor in the whole discussion that we're having here about the creation of the Lone Star Section. So yeah, I think it's really important to understand the evolution of how this happened and the importance of the connectivity that we have and can sustain and understand with Austin.
That's great. Yeah. When I was yesterday in a meeting for the System Council, for the IEEE System Council, Walt mentioned something about Region 5 conference, I think this year. And he said there is a lot of activities. So I am not sure how we will be able to attend all of them together. Should I pick this? Should I pick that? So I think in this, when we have a separate section for San Antonio itself, this will let people focus in San Antonio activity, its contribution to advancing technology. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. And of course, we have UT in Austin, but we have UTSA, we have everything. We have even Texas A&M campus now in San Antonio.
That's
So,
huge. It's huge
yeah.
and I think that's one of the dominant factors and drivers behind the creation of the section.
Yeah, it's a huge. I mean, since the year I moved to San Antonio till my daughter goes to UTSA, since before a few years, 2 years or 3 years, last time I saw it, it's a huge campus. Plus, I've been to Texas A&M, in the south by Fortin. It's a huge campus. It's amazing how much we are growing in San Antonio. Yeah, it's a good step. I agree with you. Now, that being said, let's talk about the formation of the Lone Star section. Why we decided to separate it from Central Texas section. Can you give us brief history of that period?
Sure. My perspective on that is really pretty simple. And I think it really was important in coming to my conclusions that I was in fact had been a chairman up at Central Texas section. I mean, it was always clear that most of the activity centered up in Austin, but an increasing number of participants played in from San Antonio and San Marcos. And the increase was not insignificant. UTSA, my son graduated from he graduated from UT Austin, and then he came and finished his doctorate work at San Antonio here with the UT system. And your point about the growth of these other academic units, and that's significant, but there's also what's happened on the flip side of that, which is in the recent history, we've now had an amalgamation of all military medicine in the San Antonio area. We've never had that before. We have now had Cyber Command, creation of these big military electronically oriented functions in San Antonio. And that, of course, brings with it all of the business behind it.
And
So,
more people.
yeah.
More people are moving to San Antonio every year, yes.
So from my perspective, what was happening is we were involving people in San Antonio. I was one of them that was driving up to Austin to hold meetings for the Central Texas section, and we'd sometimes have meetings frequently in San Marcos as
Oh boy, don't
compromise.
remind me.
Yeah, so we could all get together and not have to drive too far. And
I used to work in Spring Branch, and I remember I think it was monthly or every other week. I used to drive directly from there to Austin to attend the meetings, consultant meeting, and all this. And it was not fun, you know. Yeah, I'm
But
glad they already have their section. Yes.
yeah, so from my perspective, the real driver was that there had already been consideration of this. Scott was one of the first people to mention, hey,
Mhm.
we've run into this problem down in Houston, and we created subsections. So they had a Galveston subset. They had various centers of mass in the Houston and Galveston area. But to deal with it, they recognized they had this issue of involving more people, but complicating that with travel and distance and whatnot. So I think he was the first to mention, let's think about a subsection. And I think what we decided, and Scott was really one of the drivers here, was if you're gonna do all the trouble of going to a subsection, let's make it a separate section. And the fact is, I argue everything we dreamed about really has happened and more. Suddenly, all these people that had a hard time driving up to Austin, they're involved now in these meetings. Some of these new chapters have formed up. A lot of that's tied to the growth at UTSA, but also the growth. I mean, we got a new engineering program at UIW. So, I think it's all tied back to the growth that's happened here in San Antonio.
And 35. You do want to drive in
Yes,
35.
because that's critical because I mentioned San Marcos. They're a critical link in this problem
Mm,
because when we had Central Texas section, even then they fell in the middle, and it was important to involve them, and it was a difficult challenge. Now it's another problem. It's a problem for Central Texas section, but it's really a problem for IEEE. And
mm.
so, I mean, we've got a EMB, we've got a workshop planned up there, and we'll try to do it with CTS involvement. And the young professionals, they mentioned they're going to try to do something up at San Marcos. So yeah, Texas is big. It contributes to the problem, but I really think that we're moving in the right direction to addressing the problem.
I'm happy they did. I'm happy they did. So now, today, how is the relation with, you mentioned something about some projects are going on with Central Texas. How is the relation? How is the cooperation now with Central Texas section?
I think personally, I think there's so many opportunities that we're just now starting to address. I think there's a period of building the Lone Star section where we felt like we had to get comfortable with ourselves, feel like we could be our own people, feel like we didn't have to be the little brother to Austin, and feel like there are things that we could bring that would complement. I mean, we knew that all along, but I think it's been easier as the Lone Star section has strengthened. Most people don't realize that we won the large section award in Central Texas section uh, over and over and over
Hmm,
and over and
I
over.
like that. I should have one of
They
those.
made these, I think, after they did that. But the fact is that we're now a medium-sized section. And I would argue that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think Walt posted before a few days that we have now 5 student sections in San Antonio. That's amazing
That's
in
huge.
this place. Yeah, yeah,
When you think
that's
about
amazing.
the fact that they are the future of the organization, that's huge.
Hmm. So that being said, how the section evolved over the years since November 2019 till recently. I was with you before a couple of weeks reviewing that document for the award. So this means we achieved a lot. So could you summarize during these 5 years what we have achieved?
Yeah, I think that kind of to back up on what I was saying just a few minutes ago, I think there's been an evolution in the growth of the organization. Um, I mean, I think it's been really helpful to have people like me around to tell the Lone Star Section chairman what they're doing wrong, and I can correct them and get them on a straight and narrow. And there's about 5 of us that can't help themselves and do the same thing all the time. We've seriously been really fortunate to have leadership here in the Lone Star Section that has reached out and asked for help, and that a lot of the volunteers we've had have jumped in and helped launch the section through this growth period. Kasai, you're right. The 5-year period is critical. I mean, this is where a section could die or run across all sorts of problems we couldn't deal with. But we have been blessed with great leadership in the chairman, vice chairman, people rolling into those positions now. And in terms of if we've accomplished anything right, we've got great leaders in those positions.
I agree. I agree. You don't know, Garrett, since we announced the formation of the history committee, how many emails and support I receive. Everyone is offering their support and help. I'm honored and really pleased that we have all this support. And I think that's special about San Antonio people. Let's be honest. That's what we are in San Antonio. Everybody stand with each other. I like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I think that part back to being the little brother for so long and recognizing that jeepers, with the growth that's going on here, we can really make something on our own, but we can also make something that can work really well together with Central Texas Section as we figure out these right interfaces to work with CTS.
I agree with you. I agree. Let's talk about the section contribution for what we believe in the IEEE, advancing technology for humanity. I know now we are all trying to shed light in data points and data point achievements, video conferencing, and the many achievements. And you just mentioned military, medical, and IT, space cloud. There is many. The institute, Southwest Research Institute itself, is a big things in San Antonio.
Right.
So what do you think we are doing in the section now to advance technology for humanity? I'm not talking about data point, but now what we are doing.
Right. So I think what we're doing is I'm happy to say, I think a broad front. I'm seeing growth in robotics. I'm seeing growth in engineering and medicine and biology. I'm seeing well, we've had an extremely successful life members group, and that group is growing in another direction. I mean, the whole connectivity to the San Antonio Museum of Science and Technology has been through that group. And that is huge because of the connectivity to the students that are in elementary, junior high school, the younger students that come through there, and the contributions that a lot of our senior members can make down there. I've
What
I've
David Moore did is really huge. Governments won't do that. I love what he did.
Exactly. I mean, that is huge. And yeah, we've signed pieces of paper to make sure we don't cut our fingers off when we're making or write flyers and things like that down there. But the fact is that the contributions in terms of development of presentations, it's not only been a fun thing for our group to do, but it's a fun interface to the youth of that side of town. That is a really different side of town down there. And it's great to see all the interface into the youth, the connectivity to understanding technology down there. And that's totally separate from the connectivity to Southwest Research to the military guys out at Fort Sam to all of the industries that are developing here now, Toyota. So
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, so I think that if there's something that I really like about, I mean, yeah, all the sections are good about developing chapters that tend to focus on the technologies associated with their area. You know, Denver sections, they really focus on a lot of the atmospheric chapters and that kind of thing. So, so what I like seeing is this breadth of exposure that we're seeing here in San Antonio.
Yeah, the five student section itself is achievement. That's really, we are focusing on the new generations. I love that part. And
And
as you say,
yeah,
yeah,
because
go ahead.
I'll add to that that we just had a note, a Walt, again, through the interface with leadership that is also in leadership positions in industry. It was an invitation to him from another professional society at UTSA that has led to an interface with our engineering, medicine, and biology society with that
Mhm.
group. So again, you know, you come back to what's one of the major outcomes with a lot of these meetings? It's networking. It's all about networking. And sure enough, that's happening here.
Yeah, and everybody is around, and they don't have, we have big highways in San Antonio. We can meet anywhere, even the schools. I love that part.
Yes.
Well, I think, yeah, I think we are doing great, and I hope we can succeed in preparing a good nomination for Data Point for the IEEE milestone. Um, you've been, I don't know, you've been involved in the Stepping Stone Award or not?
The yes, I have been involved in those awards, and in fact,
But my views, I'm writing this article now about the Data Point for Spectrum, and the editor asked me with a few minutes, I'll share this with you. Why it's big deal, Kusai? It's been a long time. The book you are talking about, it's over 12 years. Well, there was a recognition for Data Point, even the stepping stone, but that's within Texas itself. But it's big deal. It impacted the whole computing industry in the whole world. So we need a milestone award. I believe in that.
yes, yes, and I know that. Have you already talked to Ernest?
Yes, after you. I mean, I'm talking. I'm stepping to his meeting
Oh, good.
in a
Okay.
few minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you know, Ernest and I have talked about this and the, you know,
Mm,
next step forward for that stepping stone, no question
mm,
about it, is a
mm,
milestone. And you know, I've already talked to David about the three endorsements that we need. So you're right. That we need that kind of thing done here in San Antonio, and
mm.
it will. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, I tried to email David. I think he's quite busy, or for some reason he did not. Yeah,
He's
he
very
did
busy.
not get my email. Yeah, I wanted to involve him in that article, but I think we can do this in the future. Well, Garrett, it was a pleasure talking to you. Is there any final word you would like to add?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've talked a lot about technology and we've talked about
Mm,
the growth of San Antonio and whatnot. Um, Something that I never saw at CTS, but I do see here
which
is
is?
it's just because we're smaller, and maybe it's just because of our connectivity to SAMSAT, David Monroe, and so on. But we have a connectivity to the San Antonio City Council that we never had at CTS.
Mhm,
That's important because, you know, it's all about, as IEEE USA says, it's all about getting on the Rolodex for the people that even know what a Rolodex is. It's all about those congressmen, those representatives, those legislators, those staffers knowing about IEEE and knowing they can help when as they develop the bills that are being developed in these various technology areas. And not only has that been exciting working that way, but it's also been really interesting to run our very first Texas legislators, not the DC legislators, but our own Texas legislators interface. Last year was the first year we pulled that off. We're about to pull off the second one this year, and now we've had requests from R5. They want to understand, how did we do it, and how do we do it, and how do others do it? And it turns out that according to IEEE USA, there's only like one other section in the country that's tried to do this. So I think we're doing things that I think we could never get away with up at CTS, maybe because we were too big. I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway,
And with whom? It's important also for the city to know that how the IEEE can help the city.
exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
as a matter of fact, I was almost shocked when the city councilwoman that came to our last thank you dinner that we had at the end of last year said, stood up at the end of the presentation and told her staff, I have told them if I get any invitations for any IEEE event, make me present. So
Wow.
that's
There you
pretty
go.
huge when you consider the commitment and busy times and all that they go through. Anyway, final words. Thanks, Kasai, for doing this.
Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Enjoy your day.
You too.
We'll talk
Bye-bye.
again. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Garrett.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.